government should do two things. There could only be, to my own mind, partial removal. Partial removal will then follow negotiation, intensive negotiation. For one thing, the labor union a couple of years ago said, we are not against removal of subsidy in principle, but the system must be cleaned up. There is so much corruption in the system that this price that we are selling the fuel at gas stations includes the cost of corruption. That if this aspect is not there, the price will not be as high as what we are talking about. In other words, 97 naira per liter or 87 naira per liter has element of malpractices or corruption built into it. And to that extent, they cannot agree that you remove the subsidy. Now, before the process can, if the labor union allows the process of market forces to determine, then you see a situation where initially there may be a spike in the price. But when forces of supply and competition come to play, you will now see that people with the prices will be coming down. But the initial shock will be there. There is absolutely no doubt about that. But over time, you may then see the price, coming down, reflecting competition. Because if, for example, I'm able to import petroleum products and I'm free to sell it, and I'm able to get the price at what translates to 60 naira per liter, and this guy says that, oh, I'm going to I get my own at 70 naira per liter, he will be out of business. I will just be selling, and I will make economies of scale in terms of large volumes. I will be able to put him out of the market. But this will not happen instantaneously. That is the issue. So if government engage labor union in a negotiation for partial removal, and the best time to do it is now that there is the price of oil has gone down in the world market. Government, it should be possible to be able to do a sort of negotiation, because if the price of oil goes up, crude oil goes up to say 80, 90, 100, then it becomes difficult, because people will be quoting that, oh, this is the price of crude oil, which is being refined, and which translates into the price of petroleum product. That is one aspect of this. That will be the immediate strategy. That is, enter into negotiations, and urgently so. And don't wait until the price of crude oil goes up in the world market. And then if you are able to get things right at this time, then you might be able to make it relatively permanent. So what I'm suggesting is that there has to be phased removal of whatever it is that is called subsidy. But the long-term effect is that as a producing country, there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be able to refine, our crude oil, to be able to put it on the market. As a matter of fact, we should not even only be refining for domestic market. We should be refining for external market. Let me expatiate this area. We've been crying over the collapse of oil price, and then not be able to export as much the volume of crude oil that we were producing. We were lamenting about United States not importing Nigerian crude oil. What are they taking our crude oil to do? They are refining it in their own system. They are selling the product. Is it not a contradiction that a major oil producing country is exporting crude oil, which is raw materials, and importing petroleum product, which is the finished product? It's a major contradiction. No, what stops us from producing and refining the crude here and selling the refined product? China, India, Asia, that we are selling petroleum products to, that appears to be the new haven for crude oil. What do they use the crude for? They don't drink it. They refine it in their refineries and they sell the product. Why can't we refine the crude here and sell in form of finished product, even to Nigeria, and stop importation, to African countries that need refined product, and even to these other countries? That should be the objective. And that will mean that we have to have the refineries. That will mean that the existing refineries will have to be made to work. That will mean that we have to set up additional refineries. We cannot continue to export raw materials. And it's the whole philosophy, economic philosophy of exporting raw materials. We can process raw materials. We know the benefits derived from this. For example, if we establish refineries that can process as much as 1 million barrels per day, or 500,000 barrels per day, just imagine what will be the multiplier effect of such plant in the neighborhood where it is set up, or even in the national economy. If we have 2 refineries or 3 refineries refining 1 million barrels per day out of about 2.2, 2.3 millions we are producing, just imagine the effect on our economy. And I believe that we could have the petroleum product being shipped to some of these other countries instead of importing petroleum products coming from there. So what in effect I'm saying is that a long-term strategy, and whatever it will take us to achieve that, will be to establish refinery. We can't continue to say, oh, our refineries are not working, we shall continue to import petroleum products. It's a defeatist attitude on the part of economic development. We have to break out of this long jam. Until we do that, because I don't imagine that in the next 3-4 years we can get out of this issue of subsidy if we don't tackle it. And we'll be on this thing for upward of about 15-16 years. Now we are dancing in a cycle. Today it comes up. That's why I said it's like an inflammation. That something will trigger off. We are back to square one. So we hope, or I hope, the new administration, with the courage of the president-elect and the goodwill that that administration is garnering among from Nigerians, will have the courage and put in place a strategy, a plan, to be able to say, oh, we've had enough of this. Let us think out of the box about how to turn around this situation. First, from my own point of view, find the authentic, determine the authentic price of fuel. Clean up the system. I used to say that Nigerians, by and large, you know, at times they can be led by their nose. I'm not saying this in a pejorative sense. What I mean is that Nigerians are just inquisitive. You can't take them for a ride. They have natural pride. If you tell them and you make it so transparent, apparent to them that this is the way to go, and you convince them, they will follow you. If you tell them that this is the actual price of fuel oil, they will pay. Just as we tend to say that, okay, give us the electricity, we will pay, because the alternative is for us to be using a generator to be generating power and so on at a high cost. If you are able to clean up the system, remove all the malpractices, and you come up with the authentic price of fuel, Nigerians will pay. You may be able to get the subsidy removed, and as a matter of fact, the 87 naira we are paying for fuel, in the end, may come down to something much lower than that. But if Nigerians believe that there is corruption in the price that you are asking them to pay, they will always resist it. That is the situation.